I've been a urologist for over 25 years. I've seen it all. But what almost sent one of my oldest patients, a man I consider a friend, into emergency surgery. It wasn't some rare disease, it was his breakfast. What if I told you that the way you start your day, those little rituals you've been doing on autopilot for decades, could be the root cause of your urinary urgency, your nighttime trips to the bathroom, and the worsening of your enlarged prostate? I'm not here today just as a doctor. I'm here as a man who refuses to accept that other men should suffer in silence, believing that this discomfort is just a part of getting older. That's not true. It's a lie we men tell ourselves out of pride or a lack of information. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 8 morning habits that, as a urologist, I am shocked that men over 60 are still doing. Stick with me until the end, because the 8th habit is one that almost nobody connects with prostate health, yet it might be the most dangerous of all. But before we dive in, I want this to be a conversation. Comment below, what is your biggest morning frustration related to your health? Is it a weak urinary stream? The fear of not finding a bathroom? I want to read and understand each and every one of you. We're in this together. Mistake number 1, holding your pee for too long. Let's get right to the first mistake, and it happens in those first moments of consciousness, while still in the comfort of your bed. You probably believe that postponing that first trip to the bathroom is harmless. Maybe you think it's a test of endurance, a sign that you're still in charge of your body, or you simply want to steal 5 more minutes of warmth before facing the cold floor. It's a morning habit that has become a reflex, but it's actually an act of silent aggression against your own body. The truth I need you to understand today is this: your bladder isn't a party balloon that can be inflated and deflated without consequences. Think of it as a high-quality elastic band. You can stretch it, of course, but if you stretch it to its maximum, forcefully, every single day, what happens over time? It loses its elasticity, it gets loose, it doesn't snap back to its original size. That's exactly what happens when you hold your urine. This constant effort to retain fluid causes chronic stress on the bladder muscles, leading to what we call a weak bladder. And for a man with an enlarged prostate, the problem is twofold. The full bladder exerts direct pressure on an already inflamed prostate, which in turn compresses the urethra even more. It's a vicious cycle that worsens all urinary symptoms: urinary urgency, difficulty starting urination, and the feeling that you never completely empty. So the action I'm asking you to turn into a sacred ritual starting tomorrow is the morning respect ritual. As soon as your feet touch the floor, your first and only mission is to walk to the bathroom. No detours, no negotiations. And here's a golden tip. Once you're there, don't rush. If it's more comfortable, sit down on the toilet. Take a deep breath, relax your pelvic muscles, and allow your body to do its job without forcing it. This ensures a more complete emptying, relieves pressure on the prostate, and sends a powerful message to your body: I am listening to you and I respect you. This simple act can be more effective than many treatments for relieving urinary retention and improving your urinary flow throughout the day. Now that you've taken care of emptying your bladder correctly, what you put inside your body in the next few minutes can either undo all that good work or enhance it. And this is where the second mistake lies: a morning ritual that millions of men practice in search of energy, but which is actually pouring gasoline on the inflammation of your prostate. Mistake number 2, drinking strong black coffee on an empty stomach. The second mistake is a sacred ritual for many: that first cup of strong black coffee on an empty stomach to kickstart the day. You probably believe this jolt of caffeine is the only way to start your engine in the morning. It's the fuel you've been using for 30-40 years. The sensation of that hot, bitter liquid is synonymous with productivity and alertness. It's a habit so ingrained that the idea of starting the day without it seems impossible. But the truth, which I see every day in my patients' exams and complaints, is that for a man over 60, especially with an enlarged prostate, drinking strong coffee on an empty stomach is like pouring acid on an open wound. Coffee is a potent diuretic, meaning it forces your kidneys to produce more urine faster. This increases urinary frequency and urgency. Worse, the high acidity of caffeine on an empty stomach can directly irritate the lining of your bladder and your prostate, causing inflammation. This combination of irritation and increased urine production is a perfect recipe for a day of discomfort, with constant trips to the bathroom and a weak, interrupted urinary stream. So, what's the immediate and smart action here? I'm not going to ask you to give up coffee, as I know the pleasure it brings. The change is strategic. First, never drink coffee on an empty stomach. Beforehand, drink at least a large glass of warm water to hydrate and protect your urinary tract. Second, consider reducing the strength or postponing your coffee until after a fiber-rich meal, which we'll talk about in a moment. And a powerful alternative that many of my patients have successfully adopted is to swap that first coffee of the day for a caffeine-free herbal tea, like chamomile or peppermint, which are soothing and anti-inflammatory. You still get the warm cup ritual, but without the aggression. Speaking of water, that simple act of drinking water before coffee leads us directly to the third mistake. It's an omission, something you don't do, that might be leaving your urine as concentrated and irritating as a cleaning product. Mistake number 3, not hydrating upon waking. This brings us to the third major mistake, which is a failure of omission. Many men, especially those concerned with urinary urgency, believe that drinking fewer liquids, particularly in the morning, will give them more control and fewer bathroom trips. It's a line of reasoning that seems logical, almost mathematical. Less water in, less pee out. So, you wake up, go to the bathroom, and avoid drinking anything, perhaps waiting until breakfast or even lunchtime. But the counterintuitive truth, and one that is absolutely crucial for your prostate health, is that this tactic of morning fluid restriction is shooting yourself in the foot. During the night, your body goes 7 to 8 hours without any liquid, in a natural process of dehydration. Your morning urine, consequently, becomes extremely concentrated. Think of it as a dense syrup, full of waste and toxins that your body has filtered. Leaving this super concentrated urine in your bladder is like leaving an irritating agent in direct contact with your urinary tract and your already sensitive prostate. This aggravates inflammation, worsens urinary symptoms, and can even increase the risk of kidney stone formation. The action here is simple, immediate, and transformative. Make hydration the first nutrition of your day. Before you even think about coffee, before anything else, drink a glass of water, ideally 8 to 10 ounces, 250-300 milliliters, at room temperature or warm. Warm water is especially beneficial as it's absorbed more gently by the digestive system. This simple act dilutes the urine, flushes the bladder, soothes irritation, improves circulation, and prepares your entire system for the day. It's like giving your body an internal shower. Do not skip this step. It's the foundation of your entire morning wellness routine. Now that we've cleansed the system with water, we need to put in the right fuel. And what you choose for your first meal can either build up or break down your pelvic health. This brings us to the fourth mistake, a very common one on many men's breakfast tables. Mistake number 4, skipping fiber at breakfast. The fourth morning mistake is hiding on your plate. You probably think of breakfast in terms of quick energy, white toast with butter, maybe a sugary cereal. The focus is on satisfying hunger and getting an energy spike to start the day. Gut health and regularity might seem like a secondary issue, something to worry about later. The connection between your gut and your bladder seems distant, almost non-existent. But the truth, which anatomy shows us inescapably, is that your prostate and bladder are direct neighbors of your colon. They live in the same pelvic neighborhood. When your diet is low in fiber, the inevitable result is constipation. A backed up full gut means the colon becomes distended and heavy, exerting constant physical pressure on the bladder and the enlarged prostate. This pressure makes it difficult to completely empty the bladder, compresses the urethra, and worsens pelvic inflammation. Many times, a patient comes to my office with a sudden worsening of urinary symptoms, and the root cause isn't the prostate itself, but a constipation problem he hadn't even connected. So, the action here is to make your breakfast a fiber powerhouse. Ditch the refined carbs and adopt foods that work for you. A bowl of oatmeal with a spoonful of chia or flax seeds is a fantastic option. Fruits like papaya, an apple with the skin on, or a handful of berries are also excellent. A fiber-rich diet from the very first meal of the day ensures regular bowel transit, relieves pressure on the pelvic organs, and is one of the most powerful things you can do to improve your urinary flow and naturally reduce inflammation. Think about it. You're helping your bladder by taking care of your gut. Now that we've talked about what you should add to your plate, we need to talk about what you must remove urgently. And this brings us to the fifth mistake, a breakfast favorite for many, but one that is poison for your prostate. Mistake number 5, eating processed meats. Let's move to the fifth mistake, and this one might sting a little as it involves foods many of us grew up loving. The smell of frying bacon, the taste of a breakfast sausage. You probably associate this with a hearty or champion's breakfast. It's a sensory pleasure, a comfort that harks back to tradition. You think, it's just a little in the morning, what harm can it do? The truth, which nutritional science and studies on inflammation repeatedly confirm, is that these processed meats are inflammatory bombs for your body, and your prostate is a primary target. They are loaded with saturated fats, excess sodium, and nitrates, compounds that promote a state of chronic inflammation throughout the entire system. For a man already dealing with an enlarged prostate, which is in essence an inflammatory condition, consuming these foods is like trying to put out a fire by throwing kerosene on it. This morning's spike in inflammation can directly aggravate urinary symptoms, contributing to the swelling of the gland and worsening urinary urgency throughout the day. The action here is a smart and delicious substitution. Instead of starting your day with this inflammatory load, swap processed meats for clean, anti-inflammatory protein sources. Eggs are an exceptional choice, rich in nutrients. A plain, unsweetened yogurt, perhaps with some nuts or seeds, offers protein and healthy fats. Even a serving of avocado. These swaps not only eliminate an inflammation trigger, but also provide the building blocks your body needs to repair and thrive. This isn't about deprivation, it's about an upgrade to a better version of yourself. Now let's say you've done everything right so far. You've hydrated, eaten a breakfast rich in fiber and clean protein. The next mistake happens right after, and it has nothing to do with what you ate, but with what you don't do. It's a silent enemy in the modern era. Mistake number 6, sitting for too long after breakfast. The sixth mistake is one of the most treacherous of modern life. After breakfast, what do most people do? They sit to read the paper, to watch the news on TV, to check their phone, or they go straight to the car and sit in traffic on the way to work or an appointment. You probably think of this as a time for digestion, for rest, a calm transition to the rest of the day. It's a behavior so normalized we don't even question it. But the truth, based on our body's physiology, is that sitting for long periods, especially after eating, is disastrous for your pelvic health. When you sit, blood circulation in the pelvic region decreases dramatically. The blood, which carries oxygen and nutrients and removes inflammatory waste, becomes stagnant. For a man with an enlarged prostate, this means that local inflammation worsens, and the gland doesn't receive the blood flow necessary for its recovery. Think of your pelvic region as a river. When you sit for too long, you build a dam. The water becomes still, murky. Movement is what breaks that dam and lets the river flow clean again. The action here doesn't require a trip to the gym or a Herculean effort. It's a powerful micro-habit, the morning movement. After finishing your breakfast, instead of sitting, get up and take a light walk for just 5 to 10 minutes. It can be around your house, in your yard, or even just marching in place. Do some simple stretches, focusing on opening your hips. This simple act of movement reactivates blood circulation in the pelvis, helps reduce inflammation, and improves muscle tone in the region, which is essential for urinary control. You're not exercising, you're turning on your body's circulation. And this idea of listening and responding to your body's signals leads us directly to the 7th mistake, which is a close relative of the first mistake we discussed. It also happens in the bathroom, but it involves a different bodily function, one that many men completely ignore. Mistake number 7, ignoring the morning bathroom routine, bowel movement. The 7th mistake is a mirror image of the first, but it's about something men have an even harder time talking about: bowel movements. The morning is, for many people, the body's natural time to have a number 2, but in the daily rush, it's common to suppress this urge. You might think, I'm running late, I'll do it later, or I'm not at home, I'd rather wait. You treat your gut's call as an inconvenience, something that can be postponed. But the truth, going back to our anatomy lesson, is that ignoring a bowel movement is just as harmful as holding your urine. Remember, the colon and the prostate are intimate neighbors. When you ignore the urge to go, stool backs up and hardens in the rectum, causing constipation and increasing internal pressure in the pelvis. This constant pressure on an enlarged prostate aggravates inflammation and can dramatically worsen urinary symptoms. Many men don't realize that their difficulty urinating is directly linked to their bowel irregularity. It's a domino effect that starts with the decision to hold it in. The action here is to create and honor your bathroom routine. The best way to do this is to take advantage of the gastrocolic reflex, the signal your stomach sends to your bowel after you eat. After your fiber-rich breakfast and your light walk, set aside 5 to 10 minutes to sit on the toilet without rushing and without distractions like your phone. Even if you don't feel the immediate urge, this ritual helps train your body. Using a small stool to elevate your feet, simulating a squatting position, can also help immensely. Respecting this bodily function isn't just about gut health, it's a direct strategy to relieve pressure on your prostate. So far, we've talked about habits and foods, but the eighth and final mistake is different. It's not in your kitchen or your exercise routine, it's in your medicine cabinet, and it's the one that I, as a urologist, consider the most dangerous because it can land a man in an emergency room in a matter of hours. Mistake number 8, taking decongestants without knowing the risks. We've arrived at the 8th and final morning mistake, and this one, honestly, is the one that scares me the most. You wake up with a slightly stuffy nose, maybe from an allergy or a mild cold. What do? You open the medicine cabinet and grab a decongestant, one of those OTC, over-the-counter medications that promise quick relief. You probably think it's a completely safe remedy. After all, it's sold freely at the pharmacy. It's just for your nose, it has nothing to do with your prostate, right? The truth, and I urge you to pay close attention to this, is that many common decongestants contain substances like pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine. These compounds work by constricting the blood vessels in your nose to reduce swelling. The problem is, they don't just act on your nose, they act on your entire body. And one of the areas they affect most is the smooth muscle at the neck of the bladder and in the prostate itself. They cause this exit door for urine to contract, to clamp shut. For a man who already has a compromised flow due to an enlarged prostate, taking one of these is like locking a door that was already jammed. The result can be catastrophic and swift. I've lost count of how many patients I've treated in the hospital ER with acute urinary retention, a complete and painful inability to urinate, just hours after taking a simple cold medicine. The pain is excruciating, and the only solution is the insertion of a catheter. It's a traumatic, dangerous, and, most of the time, completely avoidable situation. The action here is a golden rule. If you have an enlarged prostate, never take a decongestant containing pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine without first talking to your doctor or urologist. Read the labels, ask the pharmacist, opt for alternative solutions like saline nasal rinses or corticosteroid nasal sprays, which act locally. Protecting your urinary flow is more important than relieving a stuffy nose. Those were the 8 mistakes. And as you can see, your prostate health isn't determined by a single factor, but by a series of small decisions you make every single morning. So, what have we learned today? If you pay attention, you'll realize this conversation wasn't really about 8 isolated mistakes. It was about a new philosophy of life. It's about trading the resignation of, I'm just getting old, for the awareness that I am in control. It's about replacing silent fear with informed action. Every habit we discussed is, in its essence, a small act of respect and communication with your own body. Do you see the power you now hold in your hands? Your morning no longer has to be a source of anxiety, a constant reminder of your limitations. It can become your greatest ally, a time to nourish, hydrate, move, and listen to what your body needs to thrive. The transformation doesn't happen with a magic pill, but with the sum of these small, intelligent daily choices. We've focused intensely on your morning routine, which is the foundation of everything. But I know that the main battle for many of you happens when your head hits the pillow. the constant back and forth to the bathroom, the interrupted sleep, the frustration of never truly resting. That's why, for those who are ready to take the next step, for a complete transformation that covers the day and, crucially, the night, I want to direct you to a resource that is generating impressive results. It's a protocol called the 15-second male bedtime ritual that shrinks your prostate in just weeks. It's a simple, science-based guide that teaches a quick nightly ritual to fight inflammation and help your body repair itself while you sleep, aiming for peaceful nights and a relief you might have thought was no longer possible. It's the next logical step in your journey. I've left a direct link to it in the description. It's the first one you'll see. Click there and discover how to reclaim your nights. And finally, if this message resonated with you, don't just like the video. Do something more powerful. Share it with a friend, a brother, a father, a man in your life who needs to hear that he is not alone and that it is not too late. Let's break the silence together. Subscribe to the channel for more truths like these about how to thrive, not just survive, after 60. That way, you won't miss our next meeting. Remember, you still matter, a lot. Your journey is just beginning.